Aston Martin has made some promising breakthroughs, and the new simulator data for the new upgrades that are coming for the Spanish Grand Prix are very promising, and promising at least 2 to 3 tenths due to reports. So, covered by Matthew Thompson in a report, he talks about the actual car improving at least 2 tenths per lap quicker. Now, this would put them into big contention with Red Bull. We do know, and what I have talked about in a couple of videos now from before, is that the real floor upgrades are due to come. They were supposed to be coming in Imola, but now the Spanish Grand Prix is the Grand Prix to bring these upgrades. We've seen another one of those loopholes that they talked about in the very beginning of the season, so stuff is coming. I mean, the car still is very baseline, but I'll talk about what they brought in the Monaco GP and how the Spanish Grand Prix can be very beneficial for their car. So everybody really wants to see a Fernando Alonso number 33 win. I mean, the realism of Lance winning the race will be slim to none. He hasn't won a race yet, and that pressure is still on him. Now, the pressure for Fernando is also very high. He hasn't won in a long time, but he's a guy that thrives under pressure. Spain could be that Grand Prix, and I'll tell you for a couple of reasons why. First of all, the actual layout that we have now coming into this year with the high-speed corner at the end actually doesn't help the Aston Martin, which kind of sucks. I wish that we actually had the last chicane, just for the reason of it would have helped Aston Martin a lot more in this race. This really helps out Max and Sergio Perez, as the grip on that car is pretty insane, but the actual overall downforce that you now need on the track is still very high, and even higher now because you have to be very reliant on how you're going into that corner. That corner is usually a speed you can't be going full throttle into that corner, so this could help out, like I said, Red Bull. Yet again though, if Aston Martin finds the perfect setup, a setup that can really help them, they will be great on their tires, they could be into the fight, especially with these 210s being added onto its car. Now here's the big thing, and the loophole that I was talking about that will beneficially help them here in Spain. As I talked about in a couple videos before, they brought in a new rear wing to Monaco. And what this really showed us was not that it's just a new rear wing, but another one of those inventions, or innovations really, that Dan Fallows has been able to bring to the Aston Martin car, just like in 2022, to where they can actually gain a little bit of downforce. It does make the car a little bit draggier, but it is a little bit against the regulations, and some teams are looking at it like, is this allowed, is this not? But it is, and the FIA approved it. So yet again, Aston Martin is finding that little spot to where they can intervene with the FIA and pull off something pretty crazy like this. And like I said, it does bring a little bit more drag, but it does help the car in going into high-speed corners and even medium-speed corners. Actually, on the Monaco GP, believe it or not, the Aston Martin was the strongest in high-speed corners. Now, that is with a high downforce setup. It's dependent on what they go for. The Red Bull car is optimum in tracks like Saudi Arabia, I would say, is like the most perfect track for that Red Bull car, because you get a lot of those high speed corners towards the end and you have that straight line speed. Now here in Spain, we have one big straightaway, but most of it is medium to high speed cornering going into especially the first sector. And as the track kind of lays itself out, there used to be slow speed corners, especially going into the very end, but now it's more medium to high speed the whole entire track. And this does favor the Red Bull car, but it does give Aston a chance if these upgrades promise upon what they are doing. Now, if a reporter can go on and talk about this, then I can probably say the same, that this floor upgrade is looking to upgrade them, especially in that medium to high speed cornering. They are the strongest on tracks where medium speed cornering is very important, but on tracks where they have to compromise their setup, for example, Baku or even Miami, they do lack in certain parts of the track, and that's where Red Bull gains the advantage. What they did revise and what did help them, and we have to see now how these will perform on track, is they revised their rear suspension setup and even their front suspension that was reported to the FIA with that rear wing setup that came into Monaco. It was part of the upgrades that we were expecting for that team. Obviously, we won't get the exact same setup going into Spain that they had in Monaco. It's not the exact same type of track, and the layout is completely different. A lot of slow speed corners, a lot of mechanical grip where Red Bull has the advantage. But where Aston has the advantage is, like I said, that really medium speed cornering where they can be really fast. Going through sectors 1 and 2, they could be the favorable car there. Now sectors really 3 is where I think they might lose that advantage, as the tires are going to start getting a little bit hotter going into the qualifying laps, and Red Bull just has like the perfect tire degradation. Aston Martin is second best by far. They are the car that I think thrives under that pressure, really knows how to perform and get, really Fernando does. He knows how to extract the most out of that tire. But the Red Bull car, whether it's under Sergio, whether it's under Max, it feels like that tire doesn't degrade. They went in Monaco like 56 laps on a medium. That's unheard of. And they keep breaking these records and keep putting out these insane numbers. Look at how many laps he went on in Miami on that really hard tire as well. Every other car couldn't even make it that distance. Fernando, I think, could have if he wanted to, but it comes to show that that car still has that advantage in its tires. So something in that suspension is just perfected by the Red Bull team. And I don't think it's the anti-dive, I don't think it's anything in particular like that. It's just something that they have found that no other team has. So Aston Martin has added to its suspension setup. They were great on their tires. They were the only team that I would actually argue was degrading about the same as Red Bull in Monaco. Sure, it was a hard tire and a medium tire, but hey, Fernando had the advantage coming towards the end of that really stint that he had the medium tires on for. They had to either match each other's laps, which required a lot of risk from Max Verstappen, or Fernando was just really loose in his tires and they were on the same pace. So Fernando was holding back. He had a lot of pace left. He was trying to see what was happening with the rain. With these new innovations that they've added, and really the whole loophole thing that we keep talking about, that keeps being brought up, what is next to be brought up? I mean, we will see tomorrow, and I will cover it as soon as it comes out tomorrow, what will be added to this Aston Martin car. I'm very interested to see what they can add to it and what we really need to know going into the Spanish Grand Prix. But it is nice to see reports right now coming out saying the car is gaining well in the simulator and it is translating perfectly. When they can have that advantage to where the track is suited to that car perfectly, they can come in and win. So a possibility for 33, it is possible here. It is possible. I don't want to say it's like an impossible task, but that Red Bull car seems to be the one that will have the advantage coming into here. But it will be a lot closer. It will be a lot closer, and that's why the reports are coming out. The floor upgrades will be crucial for really the rest of their year. As we know, they are losing the advantage in the straight line speed and very high speed cornering. So what they bring to this track will be very important for even the rest of the year. And it will be good enough for us to really determine, can they bring it on for each race coming really to us. Right now, we're focusing on the Spanish Grand Prix, and let's see what Fernando can really bring out of the car. I hope Lance has a way better weekend, as we saw. It was not good in Monaco and it wasn't good in Miami, but it does seem like they have a chance here. It does seem like they have a chance here. Regardless of me saying Red Bull will be the strongest, that Aston car has proven on tracks where it needs to gain that real traction and have that great grip, they can do it. Now, maybe a little bit of luck will be required, but seeing these loopholes, seeing everything come into fruition, I am very excited to see what the big stuff will be. We still have yet to see some big stuff. Still a very baseline car, still very generic in a lot of its aspects, especially looking at its top floor. That's like the biggest thing that I'm talking about. Its top floor is super generic, and there isn't much to it that makes it unique to the Aston Martin way, other than its real undercut, how it's set up. But that's really not copying, but using the Red Bull type of really concept. So I want to see what they can bring. I'm really excited hearing these types of numbers and what's happening in their simulator. We've been hearing this, it's come to fruition. So let's hope this actually translates to the Spanish Grand Prix. Well, let me know your thoughts down below. What do you guys predict for Aston Martin? And tomorrow a video will come out later in the day actually showing what these upgrades are bringing for probably all the teams, but really focusing on Aston Martin. Let me know your thoughts down below. Please leave a like, subscribe, it'd mean the world, and peace.